In the muffled silence of space, far from Earth's frenzy, a reactor begins to pulse to the rhythm of a new era. It is not science fiction nor a computer simulation. It is the blazing heart of a lunar base, hidden beneath layers of gray regolith, which for the first time produces continuous, reliable, and powerful energy through nuclear fission. In that moment, humanity takes one of those quantum leaps that divide history into a before and an after. As the sun vanishes behind the lunar horizon, ushering in 15 consecutive days of darkness and freezing cold, no solar panel can guarantee survival anymore. But the reactor does. It keeps working. It powers laboratories, pressurized habitats, rovers on exploration missions, and life support systems. It is the first building block of a millennial dream, to permanently inhabit another celestial body. This is the vision driving today's space agencies, private companies, and governments. The United States has launched an ambitious project, in collaboration with companies like Lockheed Martin, Westinghouse, and Intuitive Machines. By 2030, a 100 kilowatts nuclear reactor must be operational on the lunar surface. A goal that seems bold, but also inevitable. Because nuclear energy is the key that can unlock not only the colonization of the moon but the entire solar system. On Earth, nuclear fission has been at the center of controversial debates for decades. But in space, where alternatives are limited, the advantages far outweigh the risks. Solar energy, though efficient in orbit, loses effectiveness on planetary surfaces that are distant or subjected to long periods of darkness. Batteries, however advanced, have evident limits in autonomy and weight. Nuclear energy, instead, can guarantee decades of continuous operation, independent of external conditions. For this reason, NASA and the U.S. Department of Energy have invested millions in the development of compact, modular, and safe reactors to be used on the Moon and, in the future, on Mars. But fission energy is not only a means of powering permanent bases. It is also a revolutionary solution for space propulsion. Nuclear thermal rockets, or NTP, nuclear thermal propulsion, are among the most promising technologies for interplanetary travel. Unlike chemical rockets, which rapidly burn fuel to generate explosive thrust, NTP engines use the heat of a reactor to warm liquid hydrogen, which is then expelled at extremely high speed. This system provides a specific impulse, meaning propulsion efficiency, 2 or 3 times greater than traditional rockets. In practical terms, this means that a crewed mission to Mars could take half the time compared to today. Less time in transit, fewer risks of exposure to cosmic radiation, greater safety for astronauts. And above all, the possibility to carry more payload and manage complex maneuvers much more flexibly. As early as 2027, NASA plans to test and orbit the first prototype of a nuclear thermal rocket in collaboration with DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. The project is called DRACO, Demonstration Rocket for Agile Cislunar Operations, and it marks the return of an idea conceived decades ago but abandoned due to technological limits and political concerns. Today, with new materials, greater engineering precision, and a radically different geopolitical context, the race for space nuclear power has begun again. Not only the United States, but also China, Russia, and the European Union are exploring similar solutions. China has announced its intention to build a powerful space reactor capable of powering interplanetary vehicles and orbital stations within the next decade. The competition is open, but more than a race between superpowers, this could be the beginning of a new cooperative era. A spacefaring civilization that shares technologies and resources to expand beyond its home planet. Of course, the challenges remain immense. A nuclear reactor cannot simply be switched on and off like a diesel generator. It must be designed to withstand violent launches, operate in extreme environments, and guarantee total safety against any type of contamination or malfunction. Moreover, the extraction, processing, and transport of space nuclear fuel, generally highly enriched uranium or advanced variants of metallic fuels, require strict protocols, international authorizations, and absolute transparency. But if these obstacles are overcome, the reward is immense. With compact reactors and nuclear rockets, we could reach Mars in a few weeks, establish scientific bases on Titan, explore the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, perhaps even launch the first missions toward Proxima Centauri. And as the lights of our planet begin to fade into the distance, we will find ourselves traveling propelled not only by curiosity, but by an atomic flame we have learned to tame in order to explore. Meanwhile, on the Moon, that first reactor continues to shine. It is small, silent, yet it keeps a base alive millions of kilometers away, like an artificial heart beating in the void. And it is there that everything begins. Around that compact, pulsating energy source, engineers build pressurized habitats, hydroponic greenhouses, research laboratories. Every component of that lunar colony, from recycled oxygen to ambient heat, from satellite connection to drilling systems for resource extraction, depends on the consistency of that small artificial sun. And while humanity learns to live without Earth's day-night cycle, it also trains to survive autonomously. It is a crucial test, a scaled-down replica of what will be necessary on Mars and beyond. The principle is simple but revolutionary. The Moon is not the final goal, it is the springboard. Thanks to nuclear energy, the Moon can become a true hub of refueling and production for more ambitious missions. There is already speculation about using its regolith, rich in metallic oxides, to build structures directly on site through 3D printing, powered by nuclear energy. The coming decades could see the creation of automated lunar factories, capable of assembling satellites, habitation modules, or spacecraft components directly on the lunar surface, dramatically reducing launch costs from Earth. And then there is the dream of nuclear electric propulsion. If thermal engines promise faster accelerations, nuclear electric engines, such as ion or plasma thrusters powered by a reactor, offer another crucial option: continuous thrust, though less powerful, for extremely long journeys. The European Space Agency and Roscosmos are already working on this technology, which could be employed for probes heading toward the outermost boundaries of the solar system. With it, not only Mars, but also Pluto, the dwarf planets of the Kuiper Belt, and even the Oort cloud become reachable within human timescales. The fascinating paradox is that, to become an interplanetary civilization, we must rely on a technology born from the fears of the Cold War. But it is precisely today, in an era that strives to overcome dependence on fossil fuels and face the climate crisis, that nuclear power takes on new meaning. In space, where there is no atmosphere to pollute, where every gram of fuel is precious, where time is measured in light years, nuclear energy is not a threat, but a promise. Of course, not everyone is convinced. The ethical debate on the militarization of space, the management of orbital nuclear waste, or possible planetary contamination is more heated than ever. Some scientists warn that enthusiasm for fission might overshadow research into alternatives such as fusion energy, still distant, but theoretically safer and more sustainable. Others raise doubts about governments' ability to guarantee transparency, safety, and international cooperation in the delicate balance between exploration and geopolitics. But history teaches us that every great technological leap is accompanied by fears, doubts, and contradictions. What matters is how humanity chooses to use the power it has discovered. And in this case, the power is immense. The possibility of abandoning, for the first time in history, total dependence on Earth. Of generating energy independently on other worlds. Of literally building a new civilization from a spark of plutonium or uranium. The future of space missions will be played out on this balance, entrusting nuclear technology with the role of backbone for cosmic colonization, without losing sight of risks and responsibilities. And if we succeed in this endeavor, then perhaps, in 100 or 1,000 years, There will be a new generation reading the names of the first lunar power plants as we today read those of the first terrestrial hydroelectric plants. Not just engineering. Not just science. But the first heartbeat of a galactic civilization. The age of fire led humankind out of caves. The age of steam carried it into the skies. The age of the atom, now, could be its ticket to the stars. As our reactors begin to shine on alien surfaces, a new light also ignites within us. The awareness that we are finally ready to become builders of worlds. If you have come this far, it means you love curiosity as much as we do. If you enjoyed this journey, leave a like, write a comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support what we do. Your presence truly makes a difference. Until the next exploration.